Vamos, el otro día dijiste sin cascos y bien. Sí.
Vale. Yo no oigo nada, ¿eh? Ah,
Ahora.
no. Hi. Yes, I can hear you now. I don't hear the TV, yeah? Exactly, yes. Okay. Thank you. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Hacer así un poquito con la pantalla. Te veo ahí en el recuadrito.
Sí.
¿Pero qué quieres
No,
cambiar?
estaba mejor antes de ver. Tiene que ser como desde abajo.
Sí, no se la podemos levantar.
Ah, a lo mejor.
¿Me bajo yo? Espera, ¿me bajo yo?
No, no. Sí, es muy buena idea.
La verdad, stop showing optimism. ¿Ahora? Early redemption. T-bills. 12-month T-bills.
¿Cuántos eran los test? 1.700.000.
Y 60.000 familias.
No, ha dicho personas.
Personas, es verdad, gracias. De-escalation. ¿En inglés era de-escalation? Lo que me mandaste de Bloomberg, dijiste lockdown. Me mandaste en Bloomberg las palabras, ¿sabes? Pursues easing lockdown measures. ¿Será? Ese soy yo. Okay, thanks. ¿Este ruido va a sonar durante la entrevista?
De-escalation. No sé.
En la nota que me mandaste de Bloomberg venían los titulares que decían suben los muertos. Yes, a bit louder, please.
Lockdown
Easing, sí. Vale. No escucho el programa. Habría que subir el volumen. ¿Cómo se llama este chico? Matt.
Los chicos se llaman. Matt viene y mañana me pasa.
Hi. Very well, only I cannot see you anymore. I was watching you and suddenly the image has gone to black. Okay, that might be. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Good morning to everyone. Indeed, one of the key measures that we adopted from the beginning of the pandemic was establishing this up to 100 billion public guarantee scheme so that we would ensure that the economy continues to run and liquidity continues to flow. And actually, we're quite satisfied with the way the program is going. We have activated up to more than 60 billion so far. The take-up is very good, and our numbers do not reflect this kind of shifting of existing credit. Rather, we see that more than 90% of the guarantees are used to issue new credit, particularly to SMEs and self-employed workers. So our assessment is quite positive that we are reaching those that we wanted to fund. Well, as we see every day, the air transport sector is one of the most directly affected by the pandemic and the lockdown measures and travel restrictions which have been issued throughout the world. It comes at no surprise that some of the largest airlines will need funding, and we see all the different governments and trying to provide different sorts of support. What we have so far done is issued the public guarantees and supported different credit lines that were being gathered and issued by the banks in Spain. And we will pursue this policy of supporting the airlines so that they can cushion this very hard blow coming from the pandemic. Well, two issues. First of all, the airlines were in a different health situation before the crisis broke. We see that some airlines were already in a tricky financial situations. Others had a more robust balance sheet, and so they may require different kinds of support. We are strongly supporting that there's a European response. All these large carriers are not of one nationality or another. They are European carriers. And that's why we're strongly defending that we would provide a level playing field and the different sorts of support provide a similar level of funding and similar level of credibility and strength to the different operators so that we do not create competition problems at the end of the day. I wouldn't like to prejudge. There are a number of dealings that are going on, and some of the decisions have not been made yet. I think the European Commission is keeping a very close eye to make sure that there is no breach of the competition rules, and we do not end up with a very unlevel playing field because of the different capacity of governments to support the different airlines. They're all hit in the same manner. We should provide a European response. Well, these are different issues. First of all, you're right to say that we have been hit more than other countries. We have very open economies, very open societies. We receive every year more than 80 million tourists in Spain. So it comes at no surprise that our societies are some of the most directly hit by the pandemic. Thanks to the very strict lockdown measures we have adopted, we see a clear improvement in the health records, in the health indicators, which shows that we're on the right track. And we hope that the recovery will kickstart in the second part of the year, and that despite the fact that the economy is obviously going to suffer enormously in 2020, we will have a strong rebound in 2021. This is what all forecast institutions, national, international institutions, foresee for Spain in particular. Now, a different issue is the fact that this pandemic is hitting the European economy. All countries are hit, some more than others, but we're all in the same boat. And there again, we defend that there should be a European reconstruction or economic recovery fund which should be funded jointly. We don't think that the outcome to this crisis should be that some countries are even more highly indebted than others. We need to ensure that there's a strong recovery benefiting all citizens in Europe. As I said a moment ago, we're all in the same boat. We have every interest in all countries coming out of the crisis as soon as possible and as strongly as possible. Well, insofar as the safety net is concerned, I'm afraid that Germany has a much stronger safety net than we do. Every year we get recommendations from the European Commission, from other international institutions saying we should reinforce our redistributive systems. Unfortunately, they are not the strongest part that we have in our country. But you're right that in the previous years we have made a huge effort to reduce our debt to GDP levels. I was actually quite satisfied that in the last year we had been able to go down very significantly, down to 95.5%. And unfortunately this year we expect this ratio to go up to around 115%. This is a temporary exception, if you wish, of a downward trend, which I hope we will be able to resume as soon as recovery is stronger. But for the moment, all countries are going to be faced with the same trouble, which is we cannot put health and the economy on different plates. We need to get out of the health crisis as soon as possible if we want the economy to recover as strongly as possible. I think it's very good that we have been able to reach an agreement on 3 different funding tools, which are based on loans. These are not grants or transfers, these are loans to the countries. One is the ESM, as you pointed out, a pandemic precautionary line. Secondly, a new instrument called SURE that would reinforce short-term work schemes like the ones that we have enacted in Spain in particular. And thirdly, the EIB to provide common guarantees. We're strongly supporting these 3 instruments. We think it's good that all member states could have access to additional funding sources. But for the moment, our funding conditions are very, very favorable. In the last auctions we have done, our T-bills, 12-month T-bills have gone into the negative area again. We have been able to get very good conditions, and therefore we do not have any problem with tapping financial markets. Still, I think it's good that there's a safety net for citizens, for companies, and for governments at the European level, which provides an additional reinforcement element for us to face this pandemic. Yes. Bueno, entonces al final el único dato que he dado es el de la deuda, de 95,5 a 115, pero es que me pareció que... Thanks to you, bye bye. No he contestado del ISM, pero he dicho que me parece muy positivo.